Well, what's going on? I don't know what happened with my video here, and it didn't want to work. So that's all right. Hey, it wouldn't be a Slavs Free Talk show without some sort of issue with my with my video, right? Right. So here we are. I apologize. No intro video. I guess I have to figure out what's going on there and get that fixed for next week. But how is it going? I hope you're all having a good week so far. I know it's just Monday, but welcome to Slavs Free Talk Podcast. We have a good bit to talk about today. We're going to talk about, obviously, when it's something Star Wars drops, we're going to talk about it. So we got that Mandalorian and Grogu trailer and poster and synopsis. We're going to talk a little bit about that today. Hey, there's a little bit of Superman stuff to talk about, whether it's the Superman movie or Man of Tomorrow. Then we have some Batman stuff to talk about. Okay, James Gunn, he's sprinkling in a little bit when it comes to James Gunn. Spider-Man and Avengers Doomsday. So we have a little bit of everything to talk about. I'm a little excited about that. Also, I forgot to mention some Harry Potter. Yes, believe it or not, we have some Harry Potter stuff to talk about. So there's a little bit of everything to discuss this week. So that's exciting. I'm excited about that. So hopefully you guys are up for it. I'm excited. I'm feeling better. The other day I was still a little under the weather. My Watchtower episode just wasn't up to snuff. But I'm feeling better today. So that's exciting. But who is all here? Oh, first off, take a look at that way. I found this photo on Twitter today. I don't know who it was because I just found the photo, so I just threw it up on there. It's the funniest photo. Look, if you can't laugh, if you can't just have some fun in regards to things, whether it's the Snyderverse and Superman and stuff like that, what's the point? I just think it's hilarious. The Snyder version is now on HBO Max, and it just look at it. It's hilarious. It's funny. It's a good time. If you can't laugh, what's the point? But it's hilarious. If you want to see it, if you want to share it around, I don't care. It's not mine, so you don't have to credit me with it. You can take it yourself and share it around. I don't care. But it's over on my X account on my Twitter page, so you can grab it, share it around, because I think it's hilarious. But there it is. I just wanted to show everybody because I thought it was funny. Anyways, who is here today? We got Critic Chris in here. Says, hey, Slav, everyone, what's going on? Just a guy on YouTube. Hey, yo, what's going on, buddy? Trayvon says, how Slav feels about Man of Steel is me with Superman 100 times more. That's crazy because I really, really, really like Man of Steel. And Trayvon also says, howdy, 2 more viewings of Superman on HBO Max since the last stream. That's crazy. He says, hot take, as much as I like Man of Steel, let's be honest, I did a heck of a job convincing people that Superman was a boring character. It did. Not I did. It did. A heck of a job. I guess so. Trayvon said, but in a way, the DCU made us yearn for a return to tradition. I can agree with that. Emo Nerd Girl is here, says, hey, nerds, what's up with everyone? How's everything? Everything's going fine, Emo Nerd Girl. Glad to see you here. Let's see, who else is here? Anybody? Jalen came in, says, hey, how's it going? Trayvon also says, a thing with a cocky grin and a stupid outfit that somehow has become the focal point of the entire world. I guess you could probably quote that whole movie now, can't you? You've watched it so many times. All right, well, let's get into our first story. Let's pull up this here. There it is. So first story is Harry Potter related. And I know I don't talk about Harry Potter often, but look, I've said this many times. I'm a fan of the films. I never really got really big into the books or anything like that. But the films I've always enjoyed. Now this is a rumor coming from Daniel RPK. Look, we know that the casting has been going on for the show that's coming out, which they're going to do, 8 seasons, 9 seasons, 10 seasons, who knows? They're doing a crap ton of seasons, even though there's 7 books, but each season's supposed to be a year of them in school, and I know that they're going to probably expand on some of them to make them go a little longer, what have you. But they are filming the first season right now, and we know Voldemort technically isn't in the first season in full form, or in the first book in full form, at least not from what I saw in the movie. I don't know if he's in the book in full form. I don't know. I never really fully read the book, so there you have it. But anyways, So the rumor goes that they are doing auditions, and they're reportedly including both men and women for the role of Voldemort. Now, do we remember months ago when they cast Snape? Okay, now hear me out. Okay, I say this all the time. I don't care who they cast for roles. My belief is always this: you cast the best person for the role, as long as the core of that character, there's nothing about that character that is hinging on their race, gender, or any species, whatever. As long as that doesn't hinge on who that character is, that's fine. But there comes a point when you see backlash, like we did with Snape. When they cast a black man to play Snape, there was quite a lot of backlash. Now, I was a little shocked that they did that, because it seemed like they were going to go a more traditional route and really stick to the book and push forward with how the books were created. But they decided not to. So I was like, okay, let's see where it goes. Let's see how this goes and how it turns out. But there was a lot of backlash. The question now is, why would you go that route again? You already have millions of people who are probably not going to watch this show because of what you did with Snape. Now you're risking even more people and more backlash not watching it because you're like, maybe we'll cast a woman as Voldemort. That to me is just wild thinking. Not to mention with what is going on in the landscape of entertainment recently, where things have shifted. Things have majorly shifted. They've moved away from this whole idea of, we need to include everybody because of race or gender or things like that. That's not the idea. They're finally getting back to the idea of, let's just get the right person, the best person for the role. But this, which it very well could be that, but again, it looks like, they're casting a woman because why not? And that's the scary part. If it wasn't for it being so soon after what everything was going on, where they were so dead set on, let's cast because of race, let's cast because of gender, if it wasn't so soon after that fact, well, then I would say this is okay because they're just casting for the best, who's the best. I feel it's a bad move because it's going to cause so much more controversy around this show for Warner Brothers when they need to stop having controversy around their projects. Look, they've had a hell of a run this year. A hell of a run. But they don't need controversy. They need to stray away from that. They need to get away from controversy. And Zaslav should be sitting there saying, look, I get it, but no. No, Voldemort's a dude. You do a dude. It's that simple. We don't need controversy right now. I think that's the best move. Okay? I just think at this point in time, they don't need the controversy. Now, I could be sitting here saying this in 2-3 years' time, we see who Voldemort ends up being and say it's a woman, and that person could be the greatest Voldemort. It could be better than Ralph Fiennes was, or Fiennes, however you say his name, was in the movies, and we could all be sitting there blown away and this is amazing, holy crap, this is great. Awesome. But will it have been worth the controversy in 2025? Because what is that going to cause? Will people still watch it? Will people not watch it? Will it end up getting canceled because nobody's watching the show? That's where everything... That's the problem. That's the problem. They created one controversy already, causing... Look, people that I know who are diehard Harry Potter fans, and they did a casting that they did not agree with, and now they do not want to watch the show because they're like, what other liberties are they going to take? And here you go. This is another liberty they're looking at possibly taking that strays away from the core material of the book, and it's going to scare more people away. And I don't think they should be doing that right now. Again, I'm not saying that if they cast a woman that this woman would not be the best person for the job. They very well could be. But why are they even looking at that when the character has not been a woman in any iteration of the story ever? Like, I get it. Snape being a black man, that's no, like, there's, with the exception of the way that he's explained in the book, having milky white skin and, the black hair and stuff like that, his race has no impact on who he is in the story. So him being a black man, that's no problem. Like, again, like I said, I have no problem with that. I think people who have a problem with it, I think are just being ridiculous. This, though, just seems like it's controversy just to continue having more controversy around it. And I think it's wrong. I think it's just going to hurt the show more than anything if they go that route. I'm guessing, look, again, it's just a rumor, so it could be nothing. I just think that it's dangerous for them to be going down this path after having such a stellar year and then all of a sudden having controversy here. Now, luckily, there's some other things going on in the world that maybe this is getting, as of right now, this is kind of getting pushed to the side. Nobody's talking about it. But if that casting were to happen, that would be top of the news. And you know how much controversy that would bring up. And it would be very, very dangerous for them. Very dangerous for them. So let me know your thoughts. I'd love to hear what you have to say in the comments below. Look, I mean, you can get mad at me for bringing something like this up. It's a little, a little different than what I normally bring up. I get it. But I'd love to hear what you have to say in the comments. What are you saying over here? You guys are still talking about Superman, it looks like. Guys are talking about the debate about Cyborg. You guys, CJ Higgins. That meme is pretty funny. It really is. It really is, CJ. It really is. Emo Nerd Girl says, how progressive. Yes. Very, how progressive. CJ says, you mean racism? Where racism come from? I don't know what we're talking about here. Jalen says, a girl Voldemort? I kind of like it. Yeah, because all women are evil, right? I'm kidding. Sorry. And Trayvon, I really, really love Man of Steel. Me. And I really, really love Superman. You're still talking about Superman. We'll get to Superman. Jeez. Let's see. Anything else? CJ says, hate watching is a thing, which still is watching. Yeah, people, I guess you guys are talking about some stuff up there. I don't know. Trying to go through the comments here. I'm not. Critic Chris, here we go. Says, I never saw one Harry Potter movie nor read the book. Sorry, Slav. I'm telling you, the movies are a lot of fun. They have a lot of heart, plus some great music. I mean, John Williams, I think, does the first 2 or 3 movies for the music. But the music is great through them, and they're a lot of fun. I recommend them to everybody to watch because they are good movies. Look, I'm not a big reader when it comes to like books. But if you are a reader, give them a read. I've heard a lot of people love the books too. Just a few. Trayvon says, I'd be panicking if this was from Disney. Warner Brothers doesn't prioritize propaganda like Disney does. You're very true, Trayvon. You're right there. So it is a little weird. Again, this is just a rumor coming from Daniel RPK. So I guess we'll see. Emo Nerd Girl says, I saw 1 through 4. Well, you got to finish. There's 4 more to see because they broke up the last book into 2 movies. All right. Next story. Let's move on. Oh, Derpy's here. Says, hey guys. Hey, Derpy. All right. So today was a big day for Star Wars. We got a trailer, or teaser. We got a teaser, we got a poster, we got a synopsis. So we'll talk about all of that here right now. First thing is this poster, and it sucks. I'm going to be completely honest, this poster sucks. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it a little bit. This poster is horrendous. I see what they're going for here. I really do. They're trying to go for this, like, 40s aesthetic. Like, if you look at it, this kind of reminds you of, like, the King Kongs and those, you know, those movies of the 40s that were just like a throwback, even like the Flash Gordons and things like that. That's what this is really going for here. But let's take a look at it real quick. Let's kind of go through this poster here. And I want to point out one thing. We got Grogu. We got Grogu. We got Grogu. Why is Grogu on here 3 times? That's just, first off, that's ridiculous. That's just dumb. Number 1, stupid. Okay, now it does spark some interest in intrigue, I guess, because of seeing a new Razor Crest up there. So you're kind of like, okay, there's a new Razor Crest, but what happened to the other ship? So, okay, that's we'll see what happened to that. Then you see Zeb, which is kind of cool. You see Hutts down here. And then like an AT-AT or AT-MT or AT, whatever, because there's how many different AT walkers out there. And then Sigourney Weaver. This poster is just not good. It's just, it's not. I don't like the way the font is for the Mandalorian and Grogu. Only in theaters, May 26th. I get it, though. Like, again, I get what they're going for. I just don't think it works. It once again just feels cheap, and you don't want this movie to feel cheap, especially when it's already going to have that cheapness to it because it's a TV show moving to becoming a full-length movie. So that's a problem. So then we move over to the synopsis, the official synopsis for The Mandalorian and Grogu. It's the evil empire has fallen, and imperial warlords remain scattered throughout the galaxy as the fledgling new republic works to protect everything the rebellion fought for. They have enlisted the help of legendary Mandalorian bounty hunter Din Djarin and his young apprentice Grogu. It literally tells you nothing about the story. At all. At all tells you nothing. Tells you everything that we already know up to this point in the story, which is Din Djarin is a Mandalorian, and he has, I guess, a young apprentice, Grogu. I guess you call him an apprentice, which is Grogu. And we know that the Empire has fallen, and that the Republic is still working to establish itself. We know all that. Like, there's nothing new that you're telling us here to even, like, get us to think, like, this sounds interesting. This sounds like a movie I want to see. Literally nothing. Nothing there. So to me, it's kind of like, like, again, just one thing after another. The poster is disappointing. The synopsis is disappointing. Now, I'm obviously not going to play the trailer because, well, we know how that works when it comes to trailers, and, you know, they always hit you with things on YouTube. But the trailer is disappointing. Okay, the trailer or teaser, it's a teaser. I get it. It's a teaser. The teaser is disappointing. First off, it looks cheap. It does. It looks very, very cheap. I get that we're still, 8 months, 7 months, 9 months, whatever it is, until the movie releases. I get that. So they have time to clean that up. But why release it looking that bad? Like, that final shot of the walker falling off the ledge, of the snow ledge and things like that, looked so bad. Looked so bad. Not only that, but the entire teaser, literally, if you've never watched the show before, like literally, if you've never watched season 1, 2, or 3, but you know, like you've maybe have seen photos of Din Djarin and Grogu, literally, it would just look like it's a highlight reel for the entire season or series of the show. Like, that is literally what this teaser felt like. It's just like a highlight reel. Like, hey, there's this show that you can go watch on Disney+. That is what the teaser felt like. It didn't feel like it was something like, hey, we're building up to something that you can watch in a theater. Hey, this is going to be a movie that you can go watch in the theater. And this has been my concern about this film since they announced it. That it was never going to feel like a theatrical experience. That it was going to feel like, hey, we're taking a TV show and just putting it on the big screen. We're taking a whole season and truncating it down and saying, you know what, we're going to shorten this instead of being, 5 or 6 hours or 8 hours long. We're going to truncate it down to an hour and a half, 2 hours, and put it on screen in theaters. And to me, I think that is a problem. That is not a good idea. Is it going to do well in theaters? I don't know what the budget for this movie is. I don't know. Like, is the budget $150 million? I mean, the way it looks, I'm guessing it's about that or less. So yeah, I'm sure it's going to make that plus more. I'm sure it's going to make $600-700 million in the box office. It's not hitting that billion. I can tell you that much. It's not going to do that much money. The Star Wars name alone it's got so much negativity around it. No, it's not going to do that kind of money. But this is not the movie they should be coming out the gate with. Like, here we are. Here's Star Wars again. Like, this is just not the movie to be doing that with. It is... look, I admit, Season 1, Season 2 of The Mandalorian, fantastic seasons of television. Absolutely fantastic, and it should have ended there. It was supposed to end there. That whole story was supposed to end right there. Season 3 was technically supposed to be the Book of Boba Fett. There wasn't supposed to be a Mandalorian Season 3. But they got pressured into continuing on the story because everybody loved the little green guy. So it's one of those things, it's kind of like, maybe they just bit off too much and they just don't know what to do. I don't know. The teaser did nothing for me. The poster did nothing for me. Look, it's cool to see Sigourney Weaver in Star Wars. Cool. It looks like she's taken over for Grief Karga. Oh, look, we got Babu Frick. Great. We had those little creatures in the last season of The Mandalorian. Woohoo. Oh, look, Jeremy Allen White is a Hutt character now. Oh, cool. Whoop-de-doo. I don't care about that stuff. I want Star Wars to be fun again, and this just, nothing about this teaser was like, hey, this looks fun. And that's the problem. That is the problem with Star Wars. Actually, there's a bigger problem with Star Wars, which I'm going to talk about down the line here. I got to put all my thoughts together. I was talking to a buddy at work, and it like hit me like a bag of bricks. And I was like, holy crap, I think I know what's wrong with Star Wars right now. But we'll get into that another time. But that's a big problem with Star Wars. It's just not fun. It's just not fun. And this teaser really, really highlighted that. But let me know your thoughts. Did you like the teaser? Are you looking forward to The Mandalorian and Grogu? Do you like the poster? Do you get excited by hearing that synopsis? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What are you guys saying over here? Wow, there's a lot of you over here. All right, Derpy was where I left off. You guys are saying hi to Derpy. Critic Chris says, looks old-fashioned. I agree. Emo Nerd Girl says, isn't Warner Brothers buying Paramount? No, it would be the other way around. Paramount's trying to buy Warner Brothers. CJ says, dope poster for Mando and Grogu, though. I don't agree, CJ, but hey, if you like it, more power to you. Trayvon says, I saw the thumbnail and I was like, wait, they actually made a new Star Wars movie? What? Yeah, they actually did. Can you believe it? Donovan says the Mando movie looks bad. I agree. So far, I mean, just from the teaser, it doesn't look good. Donovan says this is just a glorified episode of the show being made for theaters. Correct. CJ says, so are we just filling in more blank space of ultimately the Skywalker saga. Basically, yeah, this takes place. I mean, the Mandoverse area takes place between episode 6 and 7, so that's pretty much blank space between in the Skywalker saga. Donovan says this feels like something we've already seen before. It kind of does. It does. Donovan also says this is nothing but a Disney Plus special, but being put in theaters. Trayvon says watch Supergirl completely upstage this Star Wars when a teaser to that movie comes out. 100%. I think Supergirl's going to blow this out of the water. I do. I think once I do my 2026 list, which I'm planning on doing probably the beginning or sometime in December when I do my 2026 list. I have a feeling like I'll have Supergirl above this for sure. For sure. Critic Chris says Jabba had kids. Haven't seen season 3 of the series yet. Well, the Hutts aren't in season 3. The Hutt stuff is actually from an episode of Rebels, I think. Or is it Clone War? I don't even remember. They do Hutt stuff in a bunch of Star Wars things, yeah. So yeah, but we see little Hutts and stuff, yeah. Donovan says Star Wars has fallen so bad. Agree. Trayvon says I'd love to see Favreau direct a DCU movie. It could happen at some point if Disney and Lucasfilm would just let go of him for a little bit. Let's see. Trayvon says, we have a new Star Wars movie. Me. Donovan says, right now Lucasfilm is in the position that the DCEU is in. Donovan says, Jabba Kid Clone Wars movie. That's what it was. It was the Clone Wars movie. Yeah. But I think, wasn't there something in Rebels too? Or am I just maybe overthinking that? I think there was an episode or something when they did something with Jabba the Hutt and his kid in the Clone Wars too. And I think there were Hutts in in the Book of Boba Fett. I think there were Hutts in that too. In the Book of Boba Fett, I think there were Hutts. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. All right. Anyways, let's move on. Moving on to the next story. Oh, actually, the same story, same thing, type of thing. Sticking with this, Ludwig Göransson is officially set to return to be the composer for The Mandalorian and Grogu, which is cool news. I'm not going to stick on this too long. Look, he's a really good composer. He's up and coming, really great. Loved what he's done so far. Look, he's been working with Christopher Nolan now since Tenet. He did Tenet. He did Oppenheimer. He's doing The Odyssey. So he's like up and coming right now, and I won't even say he's up and coming. He's up, so he's there now. He's really, really good. So I'm looking forward to that. So that's exciting. All right, DC talk, guys. DC talk. We got some crazy things. So James Gunn today decided to post the cover for the script of Man of Tomorrow. I was like, whoa, did he just do that? He sure did. He sure did. And this is what it looks like right there. This is what he posted. Man of Tomorrow, which I think it's interesting is all in lowercase. I think that's just because it's the cover, so it's kind of always like that. Anyways, all lowercase. And the photo on the front of the human head anatomy, kind of with the first layer of skin taken off, is what gets everybody kind of curious of like, what could this be? What could this mean? What is he trying to tell us? Well, to most people, the obvious takeaway, now you could go over to SlavsFreeTalk.com, I kind of break it down a little bit there, but the obvious takeaway for people was this is him insinuating Brainiac. Is it though? Like, is it really Brainiac? Because I get it. Like, you see, the anatomy, and you see the brain right there, blah, blah, blah. Ooh, it's Brainiac. It's Brainiac. Yeah. But we also know James Gunn, and he's heard everybody talk about Brainiac, and he loves to be that kind of guy to screw around with people and allude to things that maybe it isn't what it looks like it could be, but maybe it is. What else could it be? Well, I think it could also be, let's see here. I'm trying to find where it is on here. Maybe it's going where it's more about Superman needing to use his brains instead of his fists. Maybe it's about us just overanalyzing everything, and he's just like, look, you guys keep overanalyzing everything. Maybe it's like, hey, you guys are just trying to dissect everything too much. Like, it's James Gunn. All right, now he's not Zack Snyder. He's not going to try and create this, room and put little hints throughout the room and have everybody figure it out. No, he's just putting out on Front Street like, hey, here's a little hint, try and figure it out. And sometimes it's obvious. Maybe it is Brainiac. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's not. But it's very interesting. It really is. Like, is he trying to get into the psychology of Superman? Is it just Brainiac? What could it mean? Who knows? It's exciting nonetheless because he's giving us tidbits. He's giving us something. We all knew that once Superman came out, this DCU is going to get rolling, and we were going to start getting stuff. We're going to start getting different things, and we're going to be able to talk about stuff almost on a weekly basis. And that was what was exciting. He was on a podcast. I can't remember what it was called, like Two Bears or something like that. Two Bears, One Podcast or something. He was on a podcast, and he was talking about how he was really nervous about Superman coming out. And when he found out it was a success, that's when he got excited, because he knew that at that point in time, that's when he could have fun. That's when he could start, all his creative juices were able to just kind of go. Like, he was able to have fun. And you can tell now. Like, you can tell the difference of James Gunn today than where he was pre-Superman. Because pre-Superman, you could definitely tell, like, he was so, like, clammed up. He wasn't necessarily himself. He was just working towards getting that Superman movie out. And a lot hinged on it. We talked about it. A lot hinged on that movie. But once it came out, once it was the success that it needed to be, now James Gunn is himself. He is out there. He's happily writing. Like, look how fast he wrote this script. Like, this script, like, he came up with the idea. He made this movie. He wrote this script. It is done. It is ready to go. He's out there helping them get prepared for a Batman movie. He's out there getting things done and getting ready to help promote Supergirl and Lanterns, and Clayface is out there filming. Like, he is having a blast getting ready for this DCU to just build and expand and grow. That's what's exciting. He's having so much fun, and this kind of stuff just shows that. And that to me is what's exciting for us fans. So what is it? Is it Brainiac? Is it something else? We're definitely going to see, I think, by episode 8 of Peacemaker, I think we're going to know for sure. And I think that's partially why he did it now. I think he wanted to do this now because I think we're going to start seeing hints of it in this week's Peacemaker, and then the next week's Peacemaker, and then the following week's Peacemaker, we will have an idea, or we'll know. And I think that's kind of the whole idea, is like, he's going to do it this week now, and then within the next 3 weeks, we're going to be like, that's what it is. Because he has stated that episode 8 of Peacemaker leads directly in to Man of Tomorrow. So that is why I think he did it now. But it's exciting. I want to know your thoughts. What do you think this means? Do you think there's a deeper meaning? Do you think it's more, excuse me, do you think it's more than just Brainiac? What do you know? What do you think? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. All right, let me take a drink here. Yeah. All right. I did see Ben here. He says, I wonder what he's teasing. What's going on, Ben? Thanks for stopping by. And, I mean, come on. What do you think he's teasing, Ben? What do you think? Donovan says, we all know. CJ says, Man of Tomorrow, LFG. Let's fucking go. An insight into Lex, of course. See, there's another thing. There's another theory. It's an insight into Lex. Is that what it is? Donovan says, Gunn has his pulse on what the audience wants. Trayvon still predicts that it will be Mongol that is the villain. Donovan says, I swear people are going to theorize and research into this image and into what this image means. Yeah. Trayvon, brain beats brawn. Man. Critic Chris, Lex ends up teaming up with him, betraying Superman perhaps, or they fuse together like in JLU. Trayvon, Crypto, get the toy. Jeez, you are... I tell you, man. Donovan says, I mean, Gunn has a degree in psychology. Well, there you have it. Donovan says he looks so loose and joyful, talking about James Gunn. He does. Trayvon says, Superman the Animated Series plus Smallville equals Superman 25. Let's see, what else do we got? Emo Nerd Girl, I keep watching the episodes so I don't forget. Of what, Peacemaker? CJ, James Gunn has said, Man of Tomorrow is a Lex story as much as a Superman movie. Yeah, he has said that as well. It's going to be interesting, for sure. Going to be interesting. Keeping on with the DC news. James Gunn says they now have a really, really good story now for Batman in Brave and the Bold. Guys, I'm excited. Like, So last week, he talks about how he has actors in mind. Like, he's got actors in mind. A really, really big actor that wants to be Batman, he got in mind. So we got that going. Then, not only that, we get this information. That they have a really, really good story now for Batman in The Brave and the Bold. So they got a great story. They have the story. Now they just got to get the script done. And then he was asked on that same podcast I was just talking about, he was asked about the suit. And is the suit going to be blue and gray or blah, blah, blah? And he goes, why does that matter to anybody? The story is what matters. The overall arc of the story and everything like that, that's what matters. That's what I want to get right. Why do people worry about the suit? Let's not worry about that right now. Let's worry about getting the story right. Why? Like, I don't understand why people out there, like, look, I want to know what the suit's going to be like, sure. And I know you guys want to know what the suit looks like and stuff like that. Absolutely. But I am 100% on board with James Gunn saying stuff like that. Because, yes, I agree with him wholeheartedly. Let's worry about the story first. Let's worry about the story and how it's going to work in the DCU before we worry about what costume he's going to wear. Like, let's worry about the story. Let's worry about how good this movie is going to be before we dive into the costume. And I am 100% on board with that. These people out there, there's people out there that constantly want to criticize James Gunn for things. They don't realize of how much care he actually takes in making this universe and trying to make it work. And a comment like that just proves it. 100% just proves it. And you have to love. I love hearing it, and I know you have to love hearing it. It's one of those things that's just so exciting to hear. Now, with Brave and the Bold, like, they have a story now. The interesting aspect about this is, are they going to stick to the story of bringing Damian Wayne in? Because that was kind of the idea and the thought and the promise behind it from the beginning. Is it something that they're going to shift? That they're going to change? Dynamic duos. The belief now is because they're changing that story and they brought new writers in. I know my belief is that it's because they're shifting that into the DCU. And with them shifting that into the DCU, that must mean that, okay, they have their story set for Brave and the Bold. How is everything going to work? So to me, like, I sit here and I think, okay, they have this story. How's it all going to play out now? How is this all going to fit? How fast are they going to get this script done? How fast is it? Like, my mind just starts spinning, you know? But get the script right. Get the story right. Get the script right. Get the casting right. Get the movie right. That's the order you got to get it done in. You get the story right. You get the script right. You get the casting right. You get the movie right. That's how you have to get it done. And I sit there. Look, James Gunn he knows what he's doing. He just knows what he's doing. These people just don't grasp. Like, they sit there and think like he's just throwing shit at the wall and hoping it sticks and hoping things work out. He's not. He actually has care in how these things are going. And again, it's just exciting. I keep going back to these things. It's exciting. It's exciting. It's exciting. It really is. And I think why it's so exciting is because you take a look at what we just talked about a little bit ago with Star Wars and how disappointing it's been, and you see like what they're doing there. It's disappointing. And then we're going to start talking about Marvel here a little bit and just some of the things that just, it's rough to see what's going on there. This is so different. Like the feel and the look and how everything's being approached with DC right now. It's just a different type of atmosphere. And that's why it's so fun and exciting. But let me know your thoughts on this. Like, he's talking about how they have a really good story. Who do you think the writer actually is? I know a lot of people think it's Goddard. Could it be somebody else? Who do you think? There was even a crazy rumor that Matt Reeves was the one helping crack this thing, which could be interesting. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Let's see. Trayvon says, I have to say, Slav, I disagree with you big time about Superman's score. For me, it's A++. You're talking about for Superman 2025? Yeah, I don't think it's great. I do have a couple pieces in there that I really enjoy, but I don't think it's fantastic. Let's see. You saw that. Brian Reinhardt says it shows it's the second rewrite. Yeah, for the Man of Tomorrow script. Yep, he's second rewrite. Yes, which is crazy. Like how fast he's gotten this done. Emo Nerd Girl says, "Yep, Peacemaker. I want to keep up with the storyline. That's awesome. Keep watching it. Keep pumping those numbers up." Trayvon says, Tom Brittany for DCU Batman. Yeah, I guess so. Brian says, I really want Reacher as Batman. Alan Richson. CJ says, I think people just want James Gunn to make Batman blue and gray because that hasn't happened since Adam West. Yeah, I think, well, I mean, he was kind of blue and gray in The Flash, like that beginning sequence. It was kind of like a blue and gray. But no, you're right. I think people want to see something that's different than what we've seen before, and that would really differentiate from the Pattinson Batman for sure, as well as other iterations that we've seen over the last 15, 20 years. So I'm with you. Like, I would like to see it, and I think it's time that we see something like that done, and I think it could be done well. So, I mean, I don't know if it's because we haven't seen it since Adam West. I just think it's a way to differentiate itself. Real Anarchy agrees with Trayvon on Tom Brittany. Brian says, no bat nipples on this suit, please. Yeah, I guess you're right. No bat nipples. Unless it's a really tight spandex and his nipples actually pop through. Real nipples, I'm okay. No, I'm just kidding. Oh, man. Brian also says that he should plant seeds for Batman Beyond. It's a little early to plant those seeds, maybe. But, who knows? Who knows? Emo Nerd Girl, that's true. Gunn works hard, and it's about the hero saving people, not a beauty contest. Amen, brother. CJ says, wasn't the director of The Flash attached to Brave and the Bold? He technically still is attached to it, but the last thing that Gunn and I think Safran said was, I think it was actually Safran that said it, is once they get the script done, they're going to show it to Andy Muschietti, And if he still is passionate about doing it, then he can do it, I guess, or they'll work out something for him to do it. So. Brian says, I'm a lifelong Superman fan, have seen everything Superman, and I hate to say it, but after seeing Superman 25, I sort of don't like it. I'd rather watch Superman 78. Well, that's unfortunate. Look, I'd love to hear your thoughts on why you don't like it, but I really enjoy it. It's a fun time. It's a fun movie, but it's unfortunate. Trayvon says, I firmly believe James Gunn is essentially crafting live-action DCAU. Brian says, how are the effects of 78 better than 2025? Makes no sense. I wholeheartedly disagree with that, but, I mean, I don't know what you're looking at. Don't know what you're looking at, Brian. All right. Time to move on to some Marvel news. Apparently, Tom Holland suffered a concussion after hitting his head during a stunt on the Spider-Man Brand New Day set. Stunt performer was also hospitalized following the incident. No word on whether this is going to delay the production and possibly delay the film coming out or anything. We don't know how serious it was. Tom Holland was seen at an event that night, the following night or something. Some kind of, I guess, big black tie event or something like that. So we don't know how serious the injury was for him. And again, we don't know how long if it'll hold up production at all. But it's interesting to hear that something like this happened on the sets for this movie, like we did. Like, it's crazy to think that it happened, and then it's like a day or two later we hear about it. For me, like, I sit here and think about it, like, we don't really hear about accidents so much anymore on these big sets. They are typically really safe. Like, they do a lot of work to make sure these sets are safe, especially when it comes to the main actor. There's a lot of preparation that goes into it. There's a lot of safety measures that go in, especially with the named actor, the big star of the movie. Typically, if it's a stunt that involves the potential of getting hurt like that, they will use a stunt double. Unless they're Tom Cruise, of course, or Jackie Chan, which Jackie Chan I don't even think would do any of his stunts at the age that he is now. But of course, Tom Cruise at 60-some years old does. But when you take a look at it, it's kind of bizarre that it happened like it did. I saw some crazy people post it, like commenting, like, "Oh, this is a perfect time to bring the production back to the United States," then, and things like that. Like, first off, taking it to the UK, that probably had nothing to do with it. I don't even think they're in the UK. I think they're in are they in like Prague or something? I don't know. They're not even in the UK. But, people are like saying like crazy things. Like, first off, this could have happened anywhere. We don't know what the circumstances are. He could have just been doing one of his crazy backflips that he always does, and he could have just slipped and fell and hit his head. Like, I don't know what the circumstances are. But, the crazy thing is, that it actually happened, and the stunt performer is also hospitalized. So to me, it's like, was this a stunt that was being done between two actors or two characters, and they both got hurt at the same time? Was it separate incidents? Because then if it was separate incidents, then you're going to have to sit down and say, okay, what's going on in the set? We need to figure out what's going on and get this taken care of and fixed and all that kind of stuff. But regardless, hopefully everybody comes out fine. Hopefully nobody's severely injured, and everybody can get back to work and moving straight forward with how everything is. If they need to take some time, if things need to get pushed back and delayed, hey, take the time they need to take, because that's more important. Their health and safety is more important than anything else. But that did happen, and this came up just yesterday as this news broke. So just wanted to put that out there. So there's that. All right, now let's get into the meat and potatoes for the rest of the show, which is Avengers Doomsday. So Avengers Doomsday has reportedly wrapped filming as of last week. This came out last week. Interesting, to say the least. I know a lot of people want to make jokes like, oh, it's crazy that a movie without a finished script has wrapped filming. It had a finished script, but it has wrapped filming. That gives them a little more than a year for post-production, and you know how Marvel loves their reshoots and their pickups and things like that, so that gives them a little more than a year to do all of that. Kevin Feige loves to rewrite the movie and do reshoots and pickups, so that's what's going to go on now. I don't expect them to really start promoting this movie until sometime mid-next year. Probably look at May to June for that, if not July. We may get some kind of teaser before then, but I would say probably June, July is when they're really going to start pushing the marketing and promotion for this film. But maybe this Christmas, maybe they might have some kind of teaser this Christmas to go with Avatar. I mean, I wouldn't put it past them. I could see them doing some kind of teaser, especially because they don't have any big MCU-centric Marvel Studios film between now and then, besides Spider-Man. So I could see that being something they do. But, yeah, I mean, it's crazy to think, you know, they've wrapped filming. Now they have... What is the plan? I think they're going to start shooting Secret Wars. I think I heard. What is it, like starting in the... Is it in the winter? Like end of winter, early spring next year is what I heard. Or maybe it's sooner than that. I can't remember. Don't hold me to that. So they're going to be shooting Secret Wars very soon. If not sooner than that. So, I mean... Yeah, it's going to be interesting because they've done a hell of a job keeping things tight-lipped with Doomsday. They really have. Obviously, they did the reveal, the casting chair thing, which was really dumb. But they gave out these. Let me show this first. These little bags, polyester bags, to hair and makeup, and I guess some other people that worked on the movie. And you can see they have cast members on the side in their get-ups there. And here's a close-up look at it here, okay? And this is the cast, for the most part, most of the cast. And it's underwhelming. Very underwhelming. So obviously you have Dr. Doom. Victor Von Doom right there in the top corner. And then you have Thor. And then you have Anthony Mackie as Captain America. Then you have Ant-Man. Then right here, next line, you have the Fantastic Four. All right? Then you have Winter Soldier. Then you have Black Panther. You have Shang-Chi. You have Loki. Over here, it looks like you have Florence Pugh's character, maybe the White Widow, maybe. I don't. It's hard to tell who that is. Then you have what's his name? I can't remember his name right now. I can't remember his name. Florence Pugh's White Widow's father, whatever his name is. Then you have M'Baku. I can't tell who this is. Down here, I thought it was Namor at first, but it doesn't actually look like Namor. I don't know. Then you have Mystique, you have Gambit, you have Professor X. This one here, can't really tell who this is. It's hard to tell who this is. A lot of people were like, oh, maybe it's Daredevil. I don't think it's Daredevil. It's hard to tell who that is. Anyways, then you have Beast, Cyclops, Nightcrawler. Then you have U.S. Agent. Then you have... Yes, I don't know. Then you have Falcon, the new Falcon. You have Sentry, and then I believe this is Franklin Richards right here. So there's two of them that I really can't tell who they are. But look at this cast. All right, look at this cast, and you sit there and you think, Avengers Doomsday. All right, like the new Avengers movie, exciting. And then you look at this cast, and then you think, I don't care. I don't like this cast. I don't care about this cast. The only character that I truly, maybe there's two characters I truly care about in this cast. That I care about their story for this movie. Because don't get me wrong, like, yeah, I'm interested in seeing the X-Men, the old X-Men. Absolutely. Like, yay, let's see the old X-Men pop up again for the 9,000th time because we've seen 432 movies of them. Cool, let's see them pop up in the MCU. Yay! Woohoo! Okay. But we see in this the only characters, Thor, obviously, because we've seen Thor how many times now, and he's got a great story arc that we've seen over the last, 16, 17 years. A lot of fun. Loki. Again, if you like the Loki series, if you like his story over the last amount of years, same as Thor, plus to hopefully see Loki and Thor come back together and have that moment, that'll be great. So those two characters, two characters that I care about. Right there. Besides that, I think the only other character I would actually care about is the Winter Soldier, is Bucky. No other character on this here do I actually care about for this movie. Do I actually sit there and think, man, I hope they make it out alive, or man, I hope they don't die, or man, I really hope something cool happens with them in this movie. Because I don't care. There's been no build-up to this movie, and that is a big problem for this film. And that has been the absolute issue for them announcing this film, for the multiverse saga. You go back and you take a look at the Infinity Saga. You had Iron Man 1, 2, 3. You had Captain America 1, 2, 3. You had Thor 1, 2, 3. You had 2 Avenger films. You had 2 Guardians of the Galaxy films. What am I missing? 2 Ant-Man films. How many films did you have? All of those films until you got to that big ultimate film against Thanos in Infinity War. You had all of those movies that had all those characters that you built up, and you had a reason to care about those characters. You cared about their arc, their story, where they were at that moment when they went up and faced against Thanos. You have Doctor Doom in this movie being introduced for the first time in the MCU in this movie. Sure, we had a Fantastic Four movie that was subpar. Wasn't great. Sure, Ant-Man's here. We've had history with Ant-Man. But let's face it, he's not been great. Anthony Mackie is Captain America. He's been around for a while. But he's just getting started as Captain America. It's hard to believe that anything's going to happen to him. Shang-Chi, he's a great character. I loved him. We've got 1 movie with him. Like, you see the issue we have here. Letitia Wright as Black Panther now. What are they going to do with her? They're going to kill off another Black Panther already? That's the problem they have. Now, I know these aren't all the characters that are going to be in this movie. I know there's going to be other characters in this film. I get it. But this seems to be what the core characters are going to be. We know that Thor is taking top billing on this film. So Thor's top billing. Probably right after Robert Downey Jr. Honestly, it's going to be Robert Downey Jr. and then Thor. Think about that for a second. Besides that, after you take those 2 away, who do we care about? Why do we care about? And I don't care what anybody says. The Russo brothers aren't that good of filmmakers to make us sit there and care about 50 characters, 27 characters, however many characters they put in this movie. They're not going to make us care about that many characters, or even 10 of those characters in the span of 1 movie, to make us feel like we felt in Infinity War and Endgame. It's just not going to be possible. That is the fundamental issue that we're having going into Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars. Sure, they may be fun spectacles. They may blow us away with the way it looks and the way it's fun and woohoo, it's a lot of fun. That is my biggest problem with their first big movie, which was Civil War. I know they did Winter Soldier too. Winter Soldier was good. But their big, big movie with conflict, which was Civil War, that was another issue. Like, that had a similar issue like we're going into with this. And that's why I have so many problems with Civil War. Because it was all manufactured in the movie. All this manufactured emotional issues and emotional drama in that movie. So much was manufactured that was never relevant or made real prior to that. I guarantee they're going to do the same thing in this movie. And it's going to be annoying as all hell. And that's a problem. That is a problem. Like, good for them for getting this cool little bag, though. Like, woohoo, you got a bag. Yay. Good for you. And then we get this crazy little potential look of the characters. I don't know if this is real. I don't know if this was debunked. Couldn't tell you. This is the one that interests me, though. Is this one right here. I can't pull it up any closer. Of Robert Downey Jr., big scar right down the middle of his face. That is a different look. That is a different look for sure. So that's great. This one's cool of Marsden as Cyclops because you can see the blue underneath the little cape there. So you kind of know what he's wearing. Letitia Wright, I mean, we know she's going to look like what she looked like as Black Panther. So, but yeah, I don't know. Again, I don't know if it's real. I don't know if it's AI. I don't know if it's fake. But there's that. But I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments below about this. What do you think? Do you think this is like when you start to really look at the cast? And again, I know that's not the full cast, but that's going to be the core cast. That's the main cast. Everybody else that they've announced they're all like side characters in every other movie. Like, none of them are going to be any bigger than this. Like, do we care? Do we care at all? Like, and why should we care? Like, there's no reason to care. Nothing has been built up to this point. But let me know your thoughts in the comments about this. What do you guys think about this? All right. What are you guys saying over here? While we look at this, I will just go back right here. Trayvon says, let's see how things play out with the cast now that Jimmy Kimmel has his show back. What does that have to do with anything? They can't afford more cast members? Is that what you're saying? I don't know. Well, Shang-Chi is down in the bottom there. Here, I'll pull it back up. Maybe. If I can. Shang-Chi is right here. This is not Shang-Chi. I don't know who that is up here. This is Shang-Chi right there. Let's see. What else? The original Avengers cast. Cricker says our original Avengers cast is bad guy variants. That'd be interesting. Something to be interesting. Jay Casali got Cyclops looking like his 90s animated show costume finally. Yeah, finally. Jay also says, wait, you're saying you don't care for the Fox X-Men cast? No, I care for the Fox X-Men cast. The problem is we've seen them how many times now. We've seen how many different movies for them. And we know that, yeah, it'll be interesting to see them in this universe, in the MCU. But we don't have any, like, major story or reason to care about these versions of them. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's no emotional weight behind these characters. None. Like, there's no emotional weight behind any of these characters with the exception of, like I said, Thor, Loki, and Bucky. At least for me, like, there's no reason to care. And that's kind of the problem that I have. Trayvon says, to be completely fair, it's hard to care about them when you've had barely anything based them leading into Doomsday Secret Wars. Exactly. Jay also says, well, Slav, that's the thing. Endgame was a once-in-a-lifetime event. That type of magic can't be replicated. But they're trying to replicate it. That's the problem. They're trying to replicate it in the worst backhanded way. Instead of saying, look, we can't replicate this, so let's take our time and build to something that can be great, they're just like, well, let's throw Robert Downey Jr. in his Doom and let's just do something. And that's the problem. That is the big problem. Like, cast somebody right for Dr. Doom. Not Robert Downey Jr. Cast somebody right. Instead of trying to do a quick cash grab with Robert Downey Jr., cast somebody right and build to Dr. Doom. Do a good Fantastic Four movie or do a couple good Fantastic Four films, introduce Dr. Doom that way, and build to the Avengers actually having to go against Dr. Doom instead of doing this. That's what I'm saying. Trayvon says, hot take, I don't think either Doomsday or Secret Wars will break $1 billion. I think they will. At least one of them will. Jay says, I hope Ian McClellan has a proper Magneto costume and helmet. I mean, I'm sure he will, since everybody else apparently will have a proper costume. Trayvon says, only because I think the general audience equates Avengers to Tony Stark, Steve Rogers, Captain America, Thor, Hulk, Black Widow, and Hawkeye. Yeah, I think they'll see the Avengers name because we haven't had an Avengers film since 2019, and I think that's what'll help. It's kind of like Star Wars was. Like, we didn't have a Star Wars movie since 2005, and then 2015 came along, and it was Star Wars, and people were like, Star Wars, let's go! I think Avengers is going to have a similar thing. I'm not going to say it's $2 billion, but I think it'll hit $1 billion. Jay says, if James Marsden says, to me, my X-Men, I die a happy man. God damn it. Trayvon, it was a once-in-a-lifetime, Jay. You're talking to Jay there. Scott Edwards, do you think more cast announced? I don't think we're going to get any more cast announcements for Doomsday. I don't. I think the only thing that we'll see with cast at this point will be in teasers or trailers and things like that. I think it would be smart for them not to do any more cast announcements, I think, at this point, because they don't have to worry about set leaks. I think the only reason why they would do anything like that is in case of set leaks. So for me, I would say don't. And they shouldn't, and I hope they don't. But I don't think they will, because there's no need to. There's literally no need to. They can now reveal everything through teasers and trailers at this point. And Jay says, I hope Pedro Pascal gets more to do as Reed Richards, because I thought he was good in First Steps. Jay says, besides Endgame, give a smart Hulk, and I despise that. Yes. Chris, I wish they'd make... that's Famke Janssen up there, maybe? Up in this corner, maybe? Maybe that's who that is. Yeah. What am I saying? Chris says, I wish they'd make Bucky into White Wolf. He just dull now since Brave New World and Thunderbolts. Yeah. Scott Edwards say, I hope Famke Janssen and Halle Berry return. That's who I'm thinking it might be up here in the corner. That might be Famke Janssen. I don't know. Jay says, despite what you think, I like Dr. Doom. Actually looks like Doom costume-wise, as long as the mask stays on. But knowing RDJ, I doubt it. Yeah, I like Dr. Doom. I like the costume. I just don't like RDJ's casting, that's all. Weekend Nighthawks. They should have picked X-Men First Class young actors rather than the old ones. They appeared multiple times. I think they should have done a mix, honestly. That would have been more fun. But, yeah. Jay says, I already knew that, but it's been too long. 2008 was... Oh, you're talking about Hulk there. All right. That was fun. Yeah, but let me know, guys. Like, what do you guys think about all this? Because honestly, it's I don't know. I'm having trouble getting excited for this. Scott Edwards says, I want to see Storm. Jean Grey, Carol Danvers, Kate Bishop, Kamala Khan, jeez, all in Doomsday. Likelihood of each one. I think we'll see Storm and Jean Grey. Carol Danvers is a maybe. Kate Bishop, Kamala Khan. So you're talking about Kate Bishop and Miss Marvel. I don't think we see them. No, I take that back. I think we will see Miss Marvel. Only because of the theory with Doctor Doom and him getting the bangles or the whatever they're called that she wears. So I think we will see Miss Marvel. I do think we'll see Miss Marvel. Yeah. But I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts on it. Like I said, I'm having trouble getting excited for this. I really am. Maybe that'll change as we start to see trailers and more marketing for it. But it's still going to be a rough sell. It really is. At least for me, it's going to be a rough sell because I think that there's a lot... There's no hype for this movie building up to it. Like, with the Infinity Saga, we had the hype of the Infinity Stones, and we were talking about each Infinity Stone and the Gauntlet working up to it constantly. Like, where's this stone at? Or when is he? Or how is he going to get this stone? Or how's this stone going to happen? And things like that. And we had that to talk about. We just don't have anything to talk about leading up to this movie. Nothing. Like, we have nothing. It's sad. It's sad. Scott says Doomsday could be great. It could be, but will it be? That's the thing. That's the thing. It could be, but will it be? Weekend says, who is Inner Gang, which has relevant connection to Darkseid? I hope if Brainiac is a lineup, it should not be one done villain. He can lose, but won't die. I'm trying to figure out, I'm trying to read this and figure out what you're trying to say here. So you're saying if Brainiac shows up, if Brainiac is the villain in the next movie, you hope he's not a one and done villain. He can lose but not die. I don't think he's going to be a one and done villain. I don't think he will be. And then, who is Inner Gang, which has relevant connection to Darkseid? Not really sure what you're trying to get at there. But for the Brainiac thing that you're saying, I think he won't be a one and done villain. Jay says, 2 actors people have wanted to meet in Marvel for years: Hugh Jackman and Tobey Maguire's Wolverine, Spider-Man. Fingers crossed. Hey, it almost happened in was it Spider-Man 2 that it almost happened in? Can't remember. I think it was Spider-Man 2 it almost happened in. Critic Chris asks, thoughts on Ultron returning in Secret Wars since he's set up for a Disney Plus show. I actually hope so. I really like Ultron. I didn't like the movie he was in, but I love the character of Ultron, and I think that they could do some really cool things with better writing and just expanding his character. So absolutely, I'm all for it. Let's see. Scott says Doomsday Secret Wars will be a send-off for all the love action Marvel got going back 30 years almost. Live action Marvel got 30 years almost. Yeah, you're not wrong on that. Which is fine. But is it necessary? That's the thing. Let's not forget, I hate to say it like this. This is the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This is not the Sony Spider-Man universe. This is not the Fox X-Men universe. This is not the Blade universe. This is not the Daredevil universe. This is the MCU. This is the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I know the multiverse and things like that. I get it. But the general audience who may have watched those movies here and there throughout their life and stuff like that, okay, that's fine. They're going into these movies expecting to watch Marvel Cinematic Universe. So then you're pulling all these other things in that they may have not watched for 20, 30 years. Is that really a smart idea? Why are we seeing Professor Xavier show up? Why are we seeing... And that was one of the things that, they've always been weary about. And yeah, the diehard fans complained whenever they didn't fully embrace that aspect with Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, but it still made almost $1 billion. Now you're going to pull all this in, maybe it does better. Maybe fans love it and they just buy into it. But are you going to do a disservice then to the MCU because you're doing all this for, the Sonyverse or the Fox universe and things like that, which they've all had their time. Like, they should, and you could have still done this with a proper build-up. And that I think is the problem. When we sit here and we take a look at the multiverse saga, they could have had a proper build-up. There's no reason why they couldn't have had a better build-up to this moment. At all. Like, they could have had multiple movies that built up to this Doomsday and Endgame, or Doomsday and Secret Wars, and included some of these characters in some other movies. So you were like, oh, hey, that's Professor Xavier. Oh, hey, that's Gambit, which we saw Gambit, I get that. Oh, hey, that's Nightcrawler. Oh, hey, that's this person from this movie. Oh, hey, that's... And eventually, you're like, at the very end, the send-off actually feels impactful because they were all sprinkled over the last 5-10 years through these movies, and it makes sense. But now it's just a mad dash to the end because it's like, oh, we totally screwed up the last 5 years, let's just get it done. That's the problem. Scott says Secret Wars will be all heroes versus villains. What all villains do you think will be in Secret Wars? Who will be the main villain? Well, I think Doomsday will be the main villain. Or Doomsday. Dr. Doom, or God Doom, will be the main villain. That's my theory. I think in Doomsday, I think half of Doomsday is going to be Dr. Doom actually siding with the heroes for a bit. And then by the end of Doomsday, he will become God Doom, and Secret Wars will be him as God Doom. And did you ever read the Jonathan Hickman Secret Wars from 2015? That run? I think Secret Wars is going to be more that than the 1980s Secret Wars. That's my belief. I think Doomsday will be more of the 1980s Secret Wars, but adapted to be something different. But that's how I think it's going to be, honestly. Scott says, I want to see an alliance between Doctor Doom, Apocalypse, and Thanos, and Ultron in Secret Wars. I don't think that'll happen. I mean, again, if you've... this is just me theorizing. I could be way off, but I do think that they're going to... I think they're going to borrow from both of the Secret War runs, the one from the 80s and the one from the 20-teens, and neither one does Doctor Doom actually team up with villains per se. Like, he does a little bit in the 80s one, kinda. And in the 2015 one, he doesn't really team up with villains. He kind of teams up with other heroes and some villains, yeah. But he doesn't team up with them as much as he controls them because they fear him. And because he's God Doom. So he's not really teaming up with them. He's just rolling over them. And, so, like, I don't know. Like, we'll see. Again, I could be totally off base with all of this. I mean, it's just all theorizing for sure. Movie Talk Now. What's going on, man? Says, definitely agree. Slav is my favorite. The streamer does a great job balancing independent value and weaving in commentary from the chat. Oh, thanks, Movie Talk. Thank you. Weekend Nighthawk says, I appreciate the way you interact with the audience. Thanks to make us feel this fandom hopeful. And yeah, forgive me for typing grammatical errors. Doomsday needs to be great. Good won't work this time. Hey, no problem, Weekend Nighthawks. That's the whole thing. I always try to tell everybody all the time that this show is about you guys. I want to make sure that I make it fun and interactive with you guys. as much as possible. So, it's about you, like interacting with you. And sometimes I'm wrong, but I want to make sure you guys get information as much as possible. And look, we all start somewhere, and sometimes, we just need to talk things out and have conversations about things. And look, we all have ideas, and I don't know what I'm saying. I'm just rambling right now, and that's what happens. Really, Trevon? You and your quotes from Superman. Come on, man. Scott asks, who should make the Iron Man-like sacrifice of the multiverse saga? I wouldn't be surprised if it was Thor. Just because of how long he's been around, and Loki's already made his sacrifice. Scott Lang, I don't think, can make it. Bucky maybe could make it, but I don't think it would work for him. I think it has to almost has to be Thor if they have a moment like that. Scott also says that I think it could be Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. I guess, but he's already made a sacrifice in one of his movies, so would it really work in that way? Because he made a sacrifice in Logan. So that kind of, I don't know if it works again. I don't know. Kevin Davis, families will go see The Mandalorian and Grogu at the theaters. Yeah, but that doesn't mean it's going to make $1 billion. I think people will go see it. Like I said, I think it's going to make money. I just don't think it's going to be a huge $1 billion hit. Scott asks, what's your opinion on The Last Jedi? You don't want to know my opinion on The Last Jedi. Look, I say this all the time. Look, when I went and saw The Last Jedi in the theaters, I enjoyed it for what it was. But I feel it's... How do I... the best way to explain it is this. The Last Jedi would have worked better had it been the first part of a trilogy. Rian Johnson ignored everything that J.J. Abrams set up in The Force Awakens. And then he made his movie and made it where it was basically the first part of a trilogy. It's basically what he did. So no matter what anybody did coming in to make a third movie, another movie, a sequel to The Last Jedi, you could not tie up everything in one movie. You just couldn't do it. So what Rian Johnson did with The Last Jedi, while I disagree with the decisions he made, had he actually made a proper middle part of a trilogy, even if he made the same decisions, it could have worked out better. But he did not make a proper middle part of a trilogy. He made a movie that ignored the first movie in a trilogy, thus making that movie not a middle part of a trilogy, and it really screwed everything up. Again, I still fundamentally disagree with I say the Mark Hamill thing. I fundamentally disagree with all the decisions he made in that movie. I do, completely, from making Rey a nobody, to the decisions he made with Luke Skywalker, to even the stuff that he did with Kylo Ren. I do not agree with any of the stuff he made. It is a beautifully shot movie. I think it is maybe the most beautifully shot Star Wars movie ever, but I disagree with the storyline completely. I don't agree. I just don't agree. I don't at all. So that's me. And let's not forget about the terrible subplot with the casino. Just terrible. Johnny Dome says, did you see Aaron Fisher is threatening to sue me? I did not see that. A shame. Critic Chris asks, will Lady Thor return? I don't think we will ever see Lady Thor again in the MCU. Movie Talk Now says, oh God, what if Toby dies in Secret Wars? I can see that happening. I could. Trayvon, I'd like to envision the Russian roulette scene in Superman as Lex Luthor taking you either a Snyder Bro or Jesse Eisenberg. Wait, what? Either a Snyder Bro. I don't know what you're doing, buddy. You're obsessed with Superman. That's okay. It's okay to be obsessed. All right, guys, I have gone on for almost an hour and a half, which is way longer than I typically go, but I am going to get out of here now. So, I'll see. Last comment I'll look at, Scott. I'll look at your comment here. What are you going to say? Scott says, basically, The Last Jedi nullified everything set up in The Force Awakens, sort of killing off Rey and Kylo. Kinda. Like, basically, I just feel like there was this setup for something grander with The Force Awakens, more of an air of mystery, and Rian Johnson just kind of ignored all that J.J. Abrams was setting up. That's all. All right. Jeez. You guys got a whole bunch of stuff here. All right, I'll read through these. Slow down, guys. Slow down. Johnny Dum said, I asked for proof of the dog surgery GoFundMe, at least a pic in his dog, and he thinks I'm saying he scams. Oh, jeez. Kevin Davis says, I finally watched Superman, not a bad film, grade C+. Thunderbolts, slightly better film. I wouldn't give Superman a C+. I think it is better than a C+, but I do believe Thunderbolts was a better comic book movie this year. I do agree. Movie Talk now says, encore. Scott says, I actually really like Rise of Skywalker. Let's see. Critiker says, good stream, Slav. Night, everyone. Good night, everyone. Yes. So I am going to get out of here now. So everyone, thank you so much for watching. I'm going to fix my intro video. I don't know why it didn't work. For next week, I will be doing a Watchtower later this week where we talk all things DC. So be on the lookout for that. But with all that said, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you all later.